Dynasty Warriors out on Netflix now, a new Chinese and Hong Kong co-production based on a video game series under the same title, which itself is loosely based on the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which itself is loosely based on a historical period in China. The story, although calling it a story is a bit of a stretch, follows mostly a trio of main characters who are warriors and they want to restore the falling Han Dynasty back to power. Why, who they are as people, what are their motivations specifically, their fears and strengths and weaknesses, who knows? We never learn. Anyway, they win one battle at the beginning, and then a certain general serving the Han Dynasty turns traitor. So these guys plan to join a rebellion created by 18 different powerful warlords, and on the way to the meeting point, they run into this forest witch who relays to them a story of another dude who will also be in the rebellion, who apparently is an important character as well because we spent like half an hour watching his backstory, and then she gives the guys magical weapons. Why? How? What? Don't even ask. There are no answers. And then they join the rebellion, and then there's a bit of fighting, and the movie just sort of ends without a real conclusion or resolution. The bad guy is still alive, the good guys are still alive, nothing is resolved. It all feels like an extended, drawn out, pointless prologue. So, as you may have already guessed by my tone, I hated the film in its entirety. In fact, I think calling it a film is a bit of a stretch because it's just so disjointed and all over the place. It lacks any coherent narrative structure. It just randomly throws at you all these different scenes in a chaotic sequence. It almost feels like a collection of video game cutscenes edited together without much thought, where we clearly lack some context in between still. Now, here's the thing about the games that the movie is based on. As I understand them, their whole idea is that you control this powerful warrior and are so unbelievably strong that you just mow down entire armies by yourself. I'm not joking, I saw some gameplay videos and you just swing your sword or spear around, mashing buttons, and you just destroy dozens of no-name fools at a time, racking up combos of thousands of kills at the same time. I was hoping the movie would tap into that. They would show the ridiculous strong characters just slaughter their way through the entire armies. And there are faint echoes of that. There are individual scenes where these dudes use some magical combos to wipe out many people at once. But there's still so very little of it. It almost feels like an afterthought, like a cameo. For the most part, it's an action film without too much action. But then the problem is, what do you have instead? The nonsensical, drawn-out story, which itself is so boring that I was very close to falling asleep. And also there's a number of technical problems with the film. The CGI looks shaky at times, the makeup and costumes look absolutely ridiculous. They look like cheap cosplay, especially the weapons. Also, there's an issue, this is inexplicable, but there's an issue with sound mixing, where I'm not sure what happened, but it looks like all of the dialogue was dubbed in a studio. And so the volume levels, the original Chinese voices, of course, and so the volume levels are very like unnatural, very weird in many of the scenes because you kind of expect this character to sound louder or quieter based on how they look like speaking, but they're all like the same level. And also, I swear there are many moments where the audio is just not synchronized perfectly with the lip movements, and you can see that it's not actually the character speaking. I don't know, man. If there's one single thing that I liked about the film, it's the landscapes. There are some sweeping shots of mountains and plains and canyons and other types of natural environments in China that are stunning to look at. But then inside of those environments, there's actually nothing to like or enjoy. The story doesn't make sense and it's all over the place. The characters are paper thin. The storylines of those characters lead nowhere. There's no conclusion. The technical aspects are shit. I hoped it would be a competent return to the wuxia film genre, with movies like House of Flying Daggers or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I couldn't be more wrong. I literally don't know who this movie is for, because even for fans of the games, I think it's still a much better idea to just play them instead. Stay away from this one. It's a waste of 2 hours.